Right, ever wondered how to get that multicoloured heat effect on your weapons? Well, stay tuned because we're going to go through that right here. I'm Dan, you're watching The Hobby Void.
Okay, so we've got a Demon Breath Spear here from a Chaos Warhound. This could be a multi-melter primed in black. So I'm going to start with my favourite gold, just on the muzzle there, Retributor armour. I put this on a wet palette just to give me a little bit more control. I've knocked it down with a little bit of water, just to make it flow easier. I'm just going to do nice up and down strokes there so we don't fill the cavities, the vents there. It's not a dry brush, but it's certainly a loaded brush, but just so we don't flood those gaps. Next we'll go on to lead belcher, just to get the barrels there themselves, just to bring them in line with the rest of the model. Use any gunmetal colour. I just happen to have lead belcher here. Okay, because this is a Nurgle model, I am going to apply some Agrax Earthshade just to take the shine off that gold. Just a light coat here, just to give it a tint, take away that shine, make it look a little bit more grimy than keeping with the rest of this model. If you had a fresh Imperial type paint job, you could skip this step. Just pick out that rivet there for a bit of definition as well. Just take away any pooling, just wick it away. So here's a reference image from the internet showing the type of effect that we're looking for. Quite difficult to pick out how it works here. So we'll look at another reference image which is similar to the effect that we're looking for. You'll see a very clear blue, purple, orange, yellow pattern. It's always in that order. It's always blue at the hottest point. In this case, because we're working with gold, we're going to skip yellow and just go with blue, purple and orange. If we're working with gunmetal, we'd have that yellow stage as well. Gold here, so we'll go with the three colours, which I'm using some very old acrylic inks from Citadel here in that order. You can also use any other transparent paint such as Contrast or even a general artist ink, as long as it's the transparent type. Again, you don't need the yellow for the gold. So we'll start with orange and we will just knock it down with a little bit of water. I've got about 50-50 water here, just a drop, just to take the strength out of that ink because it's quite strong. So we will leave some of the gold untouched at the back, furthest away from the tip of the barrel, and we'll always move the brush towards the tip of the barrels. That's where it will deposit the heaviest amount of pigment. So we lift the brush off by the tip. We're just leaving a small section on the left there without any ink on it. I have flooded those holes there, so we'll just go back and wick out the ink from those holes. We're looking to just tint that metal a slight orange colour. It's quite subtle against the gold, but it does dry a nice orange. Okay, moving on to the purple. Again, I've watered this down. You see the rough consistency there, the rough strength, and going from about halfway down the barrel now, leaving some of the orange ink exposed just on the left. So about halfway down, moving towards the tip again. Now that that's dried, we've gone on to the blue, and we're just working on that last third to a quarter of the barrel, moving towards the tip. I've gone for a second coat there just to really give that blue a little more power. You can see the effect coming together now. Just starting to look like our reference image. Just avoid any pooling, try and get the best transition you can there. Just feathering those edges. The next section is entirely optional. I'm going to move on to black, and that really is just to give us that soot effect. Again, I'm going with black Templar contrast, but any other transparent or well watered down black, almost to make a glaze, just to give that burnt sooty appearance to the barrels and just on the very edge of the blue there on the front. Again, give it that more grimy, dirty look. Finally, get your favourite silver paint, in my case Stormhost Silver. We're just going to use the natural corners of the sculpt to give us a nice sharp edge highlight. I'm using a cheap synthetic brush here, you don't need a fine tip because we're going to use the natural shapes. Also, we're going to highlight the bottom section of those vents. This weapon is correctly orientated like this, it hangs down from the shoulder of the war dog. So we're highlighting the bottom of the vent only to show that the light, in this case, is coming from the top. It really just helps pick those out. We'll just catch the edge of the barrel as well. And that rivet as well. So, in summary, we'll base coat in our chosen metallic, either gold or gunmetal. We'll wash or tint that metallic to match the style of the model. I used Agrax Earthshade in this case. We use our reference image to show us the correct sequence of the colours. On the gold, we're going to leave the yellow because it won't show up. We'll just go with orange, purple and blue in transparent inks or contrast paints. If it was gunmetal, we'd add the yellow in first, then the orange, purple and blue. Always blue towards the tip, the optional black soot at the barrel, and then edge highlight in a lighter metallic, in this case silver. So let's see the finished weapon.